Hey everybody, I'm Lindsay, and what are we doing? Hey everybody, Lindsay here, and welcome to another edition of VHS Haul. For today's video, we are going to be looking at tapes that fall under the category of sci-fi and or fantasy. First tape is a sword and sandal classic, in my opinion. A majority of people have heard of or seen Conan the Barbarian or Conan the Destroyer, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, there was a spin-off called Red Sonja.
A warrior, a woman, a magnificent new legend.
And I absolutely love this hand-drawn cover. It's fantastic. And this stars Arnold Schwarzenegger and Brigitte Nielsen. Came out in 1985. It was produced by Dino De Laurentiis, directed by Richard Fleischer. Sandahl Bergman is also in this. She plays the evil queen. And also Paul Smith and Ronald Lacey. And the music is by Ennio Morricone. The back of the box says, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Brigitte Nielsen are out for blood. It was an adventurous time when the powers of the sword and the sorcerer ruled the land. A time of magical and mystical creatures. It was also the time of the ultimate female warrior, Red Sonja. Brigitte Nielsen makes her film debut as Red Sonja in this Dino De Laurentiis action adventure. Arnold Schwarzenegger stars as Calidor. He's not Conan in this, even though he pretty much is. Calidor, the only male warrior who can match Sonja's combat prowess and therefore joins forces. I can't fucking talk. Calidor, the only male warrior who can match Sonja's combat prowess and therefore join forces with her as she sets out to avenge the brutal murder of her family at the hands of Queen Gedren and her ruthless army. The evil queen, now possessing a sacred talisman, has enough power to conquer the world. Red Sonja and Calidor must find and destroy the queen and the talisman before it's too late. Magical powers plus dazzling swordsmanship abound in this ancient and exciting fantasy feature. Rated PG-13, 89 minutes. I watched this movie a lot when I was a kid. It was on TNT and TBS and HBO a lot. The acting is horrific.
Your Highness learns fast.
Which is a shame because Brigitte Nielsen actually had the physical prowess to pull off being a female action hero. So that kind of sucks.
I make it a rule never to take a woman unless she can beat me in a fair fight.
But if you like the Conan movies and those other 80s cheesy sword and sandal films, I highly recommend Red Sonja if you haven't seen it. It definitely fits that bill. Red Sonja.
Red Sonja.
Up next we have a very, very special movie. I only discovered this film maybe 2 months ago when a friend had asked me if I had ever seen it because he knows I like weird stuff like this. And I was like, no. And I looked at the trailer on YouTube and I'm like, I have to get this movie. I have to have this film because it just looks absolutely insane. And I was not disappointed when my VHS copy arrived in the mail. And the movie that I am talking about is 1989's Arena.
There is a battleground where alien warriors compete for the ultimate prize.
This movie is bananas. But let's read the description and then we'll talk about it. It says on the front, it looks like a fight poster. Man versus monster. Tonight, championship grudge match, man versus monster. It's Steve Armstrong versus the champion Horn. For 1,000 years, no human has been the champion. He wants to be the first. And the back of the box says, forget about WrestleMania. Get ready for Monster Mania. When a human fighter takes on a bloodthirsty alien for the Galactic Championship, it's the grudge match of the millennium. Far in the future, on a distant space station, the legendary arena is where the best fighters from every planet come to vie for the championship. But for over half a century, no Earthling has been good enough to be a contender. Until out of nowhere comes an underdog, the great human hope, Steve Armstrong. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, and the best anyone's ever seen. He's been training all his life for a shot at the big time, but now he's up against some mighty big muscle, a ruthless extraterrestrial crime lord who will pull no punches to make sure he stops Steve dead. In the mood for hard-hitting sci-fi action? Arena will knock you out.
Listen to them, Steve. They're calling for you.
You got speed, you got muscle.
You could go right to the top.
This movie stars Paul Satterfield, Claudia Christian, Hamilton Camp, Mark Alamo, Armin Shimmerman, Shari Shattuck, and Jack Carter. And it's directed by Peter Manoogian. I hope that's how you say his name. Rated PG-13, approximately 97 minutes. Let me tell you about this movie. Like they say, it's set on a space station. It uses almost all completely practical effects. It has matte paintings, it has miniatures, and it has a shit ton of practical makeup effects. And those practical makeup effects are done by none other than John Carl Buechler. And if you don't know who John Buechler is, if you are a horror fan, you have seen a shit ton of his work. He has done makeup effects and special effects for a plethora of different horror movies and sci-fi movies. One iconic effect that I know he created was the soul pizza in Nightmare on Elm Street for the Dream Master.
The usual.
And the work he does in this is pretty incredible because I know it didn't have a huge budget, but there's so many different creatures. And at one point, Armstrong is fighting like this gigantic grasshopper creature, and the legs are probably 15 to 20 feet long. It's insane. Oh, and his, like, the Mickey to his Rocky has 4 arms. Yep. And it also stars Claudia Christian, who has been on a lot of sci-fi TV like Babylon 5, Stargate Atlantis, and she does a lot of voices for video games like Skyrim, etc., etc. I think Arena is on Amazon, but I can't be 100% sure. I know it's on YouTube, but if you can, definitely rent it. Pay money for this thing. It's worth it, I promise. Arena.
Arena.
All right, our next tape is a horror fantasy, which you don't see every day. I stumbled across this movie when it first came out. I saw it at Blockbuster, and I was like, ooh, I need to check that out because it has people in it that I think are awesome, and it sounded like a cool twist on a classic story. And that movie is Snow White, A Tale of Terror.
Comes a fairy tale that generations have known and loved.
I will always tell you the truth.
It stars Sigourney Weaver and Sam Neill, and what's her freaking face? Monica Keena. She's done some other horror stuff. She was in Freddy vs. Jason, I think. This came out in 1997 and it's rated R. And it's pretty much just a super dark telling of Snow White. Sigourney Weaver plays the evil stepmother who is a witch. Sam Neill plays the father, and Monica Keena plays Snow White.
Did you think you could hide from me?
If you thought Snow White was only a fairy tale, you're about to discover the truth. But lock up your children first. The Real Tale of Snow White, starring Sigourney Weaver and Sam Neill, is a tale of relentless terror and unimaginable horror. When young Lillian's mother dies during childbirth, the father soon remarries the well-intentioned Lady Claudia. However, Claudia's heart is ruled not by her husband, but by an evil mirror with the power to make Claudia queen over all living things until they are dead. A failed attempt to murder young Lillian leaves her wandering lost in a deep dark forest where she comes across 7 dwarfs. But wait, you think you know the rest of this story? Far from it. Handsome princes and dwarfs cannot always save the day. This movie will prove once and for all that blood is thicker than water and evil like an apple. What? Let me try that again. This movie will prove once and for all that blood is thicker than water and evil like an apple comes around.
If you're going to play cat and mouse, just remember, I'm the cat.
So if you've not seen Snow White, A Tale of Terror, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's pretty dark. Not all the performances are great, but Sigourney Weaver's performance alone is fantastic. So check it out.
What's the matter, dear? Cat got your tongue?
Snow White, A Tale of Terror. All right, you ready for another super weird one? I got the perfect tape for you. Our next tape is super weird. I don't know, I don't even remember how I stumbled upon this movie. I think I stumbled across it on Amazon and watched it, and I'm like, I need to have that tape. And I only discovered it a couple months ago, but it was everything I had hoped it would be. And that is 1991's Highway to Hell.
Join us on a dazzling cinematic adventure down the highway to hell.
It's hard to describe this movie. It stars Patrick Bergin, who is the abusive husband from Sleeping with the Enemy. Chad Lowe and Christy Swanson play this couple. They're eloping to go get married because their parents don't want them to get married because they're too young or some bullshit like that. They get transported to hell and they run into all sorts of kooky characters, including the entire Stiller family.
Vegetarian bitch!
And Gilbert Gottfried dressed as Hitler. Well, he's not dressed as Hitler, he's playing Hitler.
Can you tell me the quickest way to hell?
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Oh, and it also stars Adam Stork as like a secondary bad guy. If you don't know who he is, he plays, I don't remember the name of the character, but he plays the guy in Stephen King's The Stand, the TV movie, who is the rock star, the Baby Can You Dig Your Man guy. He plays him.
Bastard!
Down here, that's a compliment.
Anyways, let's read the box. On the front it says, if there's one thing worse than dying and going to hell, it's not dying and going to hell. Where the toll is your soul.
You gotta pay the troll toll if you want to get into that boy's hole.
Patrick Bergin, Chad Lowe, and Christy Swanson star in a horror comedy action adventure that will take you to hell and back. Charlie and Rachel have eloped to Las Vegas for a secret wedding, but unknowingly, Charlie is about to make a dangerous enemy in the devil. Satan has taken a liking to Rachel and sent his hell cop to bring her down to hell where he can satisfy his devilish lust. When Charlie follows, he's thrust into an unexpected world of the living dead, satanic bikers, cannibalistic bouncing blondes, hello, and a coffee shop where the only thing living is the food. In the midst of this mayhem, the devil is about to take Rachel for his own. Charlie has one last chance to race the hell cop and win back his girl. But nobody beats the hell cop, not without a little help from their friends. And If you haven't watched this, I don't want to ruin anything about it because there's so much weird bananas crap in this movie. You just have to watch it for yourself. So I'm not going to say any more about it, but I think it's still on Amazon for free. If not, rent it. Get it however you can. This movie's bonkers.
Now we'll have some fun.
Highway to Hell.
Highway to Hell. An unforgettable journey.
All right, we got one more tape. This movie I had kind of forgotten about for a little while, but I watched it a lot as a kid. I think it still holds up. It's super funny. There are a lot of pop culture references from the early 90s in this film, so if you're a youngin', you probably won't understand them. But I think it still holds up. And that movie is Stay Tuned.
Sorry to disturb you at this hour, but I have something you want.
A new TV?
This came out in 1992 and it stars John Ritter and Pam Dauber. It also stars Jeffrey Jones and Eugene Levy. Jeffrey Jones is Satan and Eugene Levy is like his henchman. But John Ritter and Pam Dauber play this married couple and they get a satellite dish installed in their backyard by Satan, posing as a satellite salesman. And they get sucked into the satellite dish and they get sucked into all these different TV shows that are hellacious spoofs on pop culture of the early 90s. And other things mixed in there. They become cartoons at one time.
Oh my God, we're cartoons.
It's a lot of fun. Yes, it is a kid's movie, but it is a lot of fun. But let's read the box. On the front, it said, "Something's weird on the air. A comedy adventure on the wrong side of the screen." And you can see the kids freaking out that their parents are on the TV, and even the dog is flipping his shit. I mean, look at that. All right, the back of the box says, "Couch Potato Roy Nabel, played by John Ritter, has entered a new dimension in TV viewing, on the other side of the screen. If he survives, he can return home. If not, like a show with no audience, he'll be canceled. For good."
I've watched enough wrestling to know one thing, it's all fake, no one ever gets it.
The out-of-this-world satellite dish Roy just bought on a free trial offer has sucked him and his wife Helen, played by Pam Dauber, into a hilariously bizarre TV world. Helped by an otherworld flunky, Eugene Levy, the Nabels zap through episodes of Dwayne's Underworld, HTV, Northern Overexposure, Driving Over Miss Daisy, Underworld Wrestling Foundation, the animated RoboCat, a sequence that was supervised by Chuck Jones, and dozens more, all programmed by a devilish exec, Jeffrey Jones, bent on zapping them into oblivion. So if you think there's nothing good on TV, stay tuned. It slyly satirizes TV programming in one of the most outrageous comedies ever. Big screen or small, bet your remote control on it. But yeah, this is a great movie. John Ritter is absolutely hilarious in it. So is Pam Dauber. It's rated PG. It's only 89 minutes. But if you have not seen this, I highly recommend it. Or if you watched it as a kid and haven't since, I recommend you revisit it. It's still fun. It's a fun movie. Go watch it. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Where have you been?
Well, that is going to do it for this video. I'm hoping to try and post on a more regular basis. My health isn't 100% right now, so I'm doing the best I can, so I appreciate your patience. But I've got a lot of things planned, so hopefully we can get that done. But that is going to do it for this video, so until next time, this is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.